So just to recap, in chapter 4 here, school was out and Kenny was spending a lot of time with the dragon. They were reading a lot of books and doing a lot of fun activities like flying kites and other things, painting, things like that. One sunny Friday afternoon, the two were relaxing under the shade of a large willow. What made it extra comfy was that they were on an old rug Kenny's mom had brought up from the house for the dragon to sleep on. "I'd love to hear more tales by these Grimm brothers," Graham said, munching on a pear. "Their work is quite entertaining." "I really like them too," Kenny agreed, grabbing a pair of his own out of the bushel basket. "You know, George, who owns the bookshop in town, said they didn't really create these stories." "Really? Who did?" "The locals in the countryside. They told their stories to the brothers, who just collected them and wrote them down," Kenny answered. "Wow," Graham said with his mouth full of a pear. "What a great town they must have lived in. Look at all the tales that came from it." "Yeah, too bad nobody in this town is like that. Everybody here is more worried about their crops than telling stories," said Kenny, looking down at Round Brook from the hilltop. "I can understand that. We all need food," Graham said, picking his teeth. "But I bet you could come up with a grand tale of your own, and I could help you write it." "Really?" the boy said, looking up. "Sure, why not? Who else is going to create the next great stories for kids to read?" the drake replied. Kenny thought about this for a moment, then looked down at the books scattered around him on the blanket. "Graham," he said, "a lot of the other kids in town, they don't, well, they don't really get me. I don't even know if they like me." "Nonsense! Complete nonsense!" the dragon declared, then began counting off on his clawed fingers. "You read very well, you love nature, you love music, art, poetry. What's not to like?" The boy sighed. "I just wanted to say," he said, still looking down, "you're the best friend I've ever had." "Really?" Graham replied. His lemony eyes were wide and glowing in the shade of the willow tree. "You know, little bantling, you're all right in my book." "Even though I have vicious coils?" Kenny said with a smile. "Even with your vicious coils, you devil scourge," said Graham, and threw a pear core at Kenny, which he dodged with ease as he scuttled behind the trunk of the willow. "So tell me, are there any other storytellers like Grimm brothers?" "Oh, yes. George told me about another guy named Hans something." Kenny reappeared on the opposite side of the tree trunk. "I can get his book next." He lobbed a pear core of his own back at Graham, which the drake caught in his toothy maw and spit back at the boy. Ducking as it flew overhead, Kenny said, "I should probably go see George tomorrow. I usually visit him once a week, and I haven't been to town in a while." And so, early the next day, after his chores were finished, Kenny rode into the town to return the borrowed books to his friend George. It was on Main Street, in the center of his little town of Round Brook, that Kenny spied quite a gathering. Townsfolk and villagers were huddled around a newsboy who was selling them the daily paper as fast as his little paws could go. The citizens mumbled, whispered, and growled amongst themselves. Graham would enjoy a bit of local news, Kenny thought, as he hopped off his bike and wiggled into the mass of people. "People will come from far and wide. It will certainly create a ruckus, that for sure," he overheard someone say. "I don't believe it at all. This is rubbish." "No, I heard somebody saw it firsthand." "But the children, I wonder if there should be a curfew." "Not to worry, the matter should be resolved very soon." Then Kenny saw the headlines in the newspaper. "Dragon spotted in Round Brook. Infamous scourge seen on Shepherd's Hill. Fear not, citizens. Extermination is imminent." Extermination meaning like they're going to try to get rid of them. not a good way. So here's the picture of the people gathering in town, gathering around. Quite a ruckus. Well, see you for chapter 5.